Hello, world. It is Friday, January 29th, 2021. And it looks like a beautiful day today. It's a little later than I normally record because I think oftentimes it's cloudy early in the morning, but looks to be a gorgeous day. A little on the cold side, but it might be a good day to get outside and get some vitamin D from the sunshine. Just dress appropriately. The devotional for today is entitled Promises, Promises, written by Quinn Caldwell. Quinn bases the devotion upon Psalm 77, verse 8, New Revised Standard Version. Has God's steadfast love forever ceased? Are God's promises at an end for all time? And Quinn writes, You've been burned before, your trust has been bent to the limit, then snapped. Politicians, lovers, broadband providers, the very expensive eye cream, Western civilization, the church. They promise so much. And it hardly matters whether they simply tried and failed or never intended to honor their promises in the first place. The result is the same. A smaller capacity to trust, a larger cynicism. They say God isn't like the ones who let you down, is bigger than the pressures and failings that make us fail each other, is trustworthy. But when it seems like you've been let down by everyone and everything you used to trust, such claims can be hard to buy. It's hard not to look at God with the same jaded eye you've begun to cast on everyone else. Though I am with you always, even unto the end of the age, the Creator of heaven and earth croons, and you roll your eyes. Promises, promises, you sneer, and resume doom scrolling. If that is, or has ever been, you, then you're in good company. We've all been there. Some of us are still there. Some of us back and forth from day to day or within a day. You're not alone. And still we hold hope that the ancestors were right when they said what they said about God's trustworthiness. We've caught a glimpse of it. And we're trying to let that glimpse turn into a whole new vision for the future. Want to come with? Bring your cynicism, bring your burn scars, but be sure you bring too that little bit of hope you still have. That despite everything you've been through, someday you might still meet a gorgeous, sweet-talking God who won't let you down. We might be deluding ourselves, but there's only one way to find out for sure. So what do you say? One more try? And the prayer. Cynicism comes easy for me, God. Hope is a little harder. Keep me company. I'd like to try again. Well, I think one thing this devotion touches on is that we all go through times in which we question God and wonder about God and maybe even be angry with God. And God's big enough for all that. There's often some trite quotes that people say things like, God never gives you more than you can handle. And I don't think, number one, God gives us bad things. But sometimes we do have life experiences that are too much for us to handle alone. And sometimes we wonder where God is in those moments. And that's okay to have those feelings and those doubts. That's a normal part of the process. And it's a normal part of the emotions that we go through. But sometimes, as I've said before, we do find what we're looking for, and sometimes the presence of God may not seem like God because it comes in the guise of someone near us who reaches out to help us and to touch us, to care for us, to help us get through those difficult situations. And we're not even aware of it. So, as Quinn says, if you've ever been through those times in which you really question God or are angry at God, you're in good company. We've all been there, and some of us are still there. And we sometimes go back and forth from day to day or within a day. You're not alone in those feelings. But I hope that in each of those moments you can find that little sliver of hope to get through the day. And when you do, or in those times when things are going really well and everything just seems to be aligned, that you also stop and recognize God's presence in those moments so that when you're down, you know you're not alone. Hope you have a good day, and I will try to talk to you again tomorrow.